Hi everyone! God, I love creating content. Let me decide what my next piece of content is gonna be. Oh boy! The Nintendo Switch 2 recently had its big showcase direct, and while there's some controversy around the prices of things, oh boy! See? Look, I can talk about new games. Not everything is a nostalgia fest. Oh, fuck! I don't really believe in the concept of the console wars, but if I had to pick a side and label myself, I'd call myself a Nintendo kid. My first console was a DS, I moved across the world for a Wii, I was one of 8 Wii U owners, I have a love-hate relationship with the Switch, but I was still there on day one. What I'm trying to say is, I've always been a Nintendo kid, and I don't know if that's gonna change anytime soon. Astro's Playroom is a game that launched with the PS5 as a pack-in title, but above all else is designed to show off what the new DualSense controller can do. It showcased the haptics, the adaptive triggers, the touchpad, the microphone, all the little gadgets and gizmos and goobers that Sony had crammed into this thing, and it was really fun, like more than I'd expected. It was quite short, there were only 4 main levels plus a final boss, but for something that people had pinned as a glorified tech demo, it had so much heart. The game took place inside your console, like the levels are based on different parts of the system, the GPU, the memory, SSD, and cooling, and over the game you collect little trinkets that were previous pieces of hardware or accessories from the different generations of PlayStation. You had little robots that were chibi-fied versions of existing PlayStation characters roaming around the place, and like, while I've never really been a PlayStation guy, and I haven't played too many PlayStation exclusives, you could tell that the devs genuinely cared about these little Easter eggs. Like, I've never played God of War, but these Kratos and Boy inspired characters just, like, made me grin from ear to ear. But then as quickly as it had started, it was over. It was a short demo after all, and over time my PS5 turned into an expensive Blu-ray player. But from time to time I'd boot up Astro's Playroom just to mess around. And that was kind of it. Flash forward a few years though, and in the May 2024 State of Play presentation, Sony revealed a trailer. So Astro Bot was released in 2024. While it's the first game in the series to not feature some kind of subtitle or suffix, it's actually the third, technically 4th game in the series. I played Astro Bot for the first time at the end of last year, the start of this year. It was on my radar from its announcement, but I hadn't gotten around to picking it up, and I was given it as a Christmas gift from a friend, so I finally popped it in, and I love it. This game is so much fun. It's so simple, and yet it's so fun. There's so much heart in it, all the little details, all the power-ups are so creatively thought out, the levels are just, so good. The hardcore / speedrun levels are genuinely challenging and test your reflexes and knowledge of game mechanics, and the VIP bots that you can rescue that are both surface level and deep cut references to so many different games are so cool, and you can tell every single second of this game has so much care and love and respect jam-packed into it, not only for Astro or for PlayStation, but for gaming in general. Yeah, this game's good. And it reminds me of a certain Italian plumber. I'm not the first person to say this, but Astro Bot feels like a Nintendo game. Not just because it's a platformer, but because it has that level of polish, that secret sauce that you just don't get anywhere else. If Sonic Lost World is an imitation, Astro Bot is a love letter. The term spiritual successor has been around for as long as I can remember, and it's very common in the game scene. I mean, Demon's Souls to Dark Souls, Banjo-Kazooie to Yooka-Laylee, Mega Man to Mighty Number... I know those games were worked on by the same studios or staff, but honestly, Astro Bot feels like a spiritual successor to the precedent set by Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 of all games. I'm not a game designer, I don't claim to be, but there's a reason that Mario was referenced in their Game of the Year acceptance speech, which also, yeah, it won Game of the Year and a boatload of other awards too, but who's counting? And here's something that I think's really cool. This game doesn't just leverage nostalgia as a way to jingle keys in your face and go, look at this! It shows respect to each character that it adapts into its world. The VIP bots go a step further than the references in Astro's Playroom and are genuinely really f***ing cool tributes to so many different games and franchises, some of which aren't even PlayStation exclusive. You've got staples like Ratchet & Clank, Sackboy, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. Side note, I think it's a little strange that the rest of the bots are robots with costumes and animations inspired by their games, but Spyro is legit just Spyro. But you also have deeper cuts like the Patapon guys, or even a few third-party characters like Joker Persona 5 and Jill Sandwich, to name a couple. When you rescue them, they have these cute little names and descriptions that are nods to the source material. You can unlock props in a gacha machine that give them little interactions in the hub world, and it's just a lovely thing that really gives you that Nintendo feel. It's so unnecessary for the devs to go to this level of detail, but they do because they care about both the franchises they're representing and the player that's experiencing it. The game follows a pretty traditional Nintendo structure, quote unquote. Progress through levels to get to a boss stage. Bash them a couple of times, they go down. You rescue a VIP bot based on one of PlayStation franchises, and that's it. Until you go back to the world map and see that you've just unlocked another level in the world, enter it, and you get to play through this wonderful playground inspired by the franchise or game that the special bot you just rescued is from. Ape Escape, Horizon, Boy, Uncharted, whatever this is, and actually, can we talk about that one for a sec? Going Loco is the name of the level based on Loco Roco for the PSP, which I haven't played, so I can't comment on how well it adapts the source material, but from looking at videos online, it seems like it's pretty good. But the reason I bring this up is because it's so out of left field. I genuinely didn't know what to expect the first time I played this level. It's so bright and happy and gives you this wild motion-based monkey ball style control scheme where you rotate the entire stage, and man, I didn't want it to end. I had such a massive smile on my face the entire time. It's got to be one of my favorite levels in the whole game, and I haven't even talked about the levels yet. Aztec Trial, great vibes, downside surprise, super fun use of the mouse power-up. Trunk of Funk, hello? Cloud Flower tribute, anyone? Luna Sola, it's like you're transported into the very concept of whimsy. Bathhouse Battle, oh, so good. Slow-mo Casino, oh, baby, this is how you do a casino level. And the challenge levels themed after the PlayStation shapes, all culminating in a final Grandmaster challenge that I beat on my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, first try. Not to mention the little things, like the fact that when you die, you respawn and all these little PlayStation symbols pop out of you, and I love it, and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy and nostalgic for a console series that I didn't even grow up with, weirdly. It's all just so good, and what is this feeling? I feel like I've been a Nintendo kid my whole life. What is happening? Like I've said before, I don't really believe in the idea of the console wars, at least to the same extent that some other people do. When I was a teenager, though, it was a different story. Crossplay wasn't a widespread thing, the Wii U was seen as an underdog rather than a sales disaster, and Fortnite hadn't been released yet. But, you know, for all the consoles I'd put hours into, or all the money I'd dumped into Steam sales, I always found myself gravitating back towards Nintendo because no one else made games quite like they did. It was like they had a special sauce, a secret button, a winning formula that just made things click. I was a tried and true Nintendo kid fighting on the front lines of the playground or the lunch tables, but not Twitter because I'm not brave enough for that. But I'd often venture out over the fence, catching little glimpses of games like Halo and Little Big Planet and a lot of TF2. I always thought, this is stupid, man. These aren't like sports teams, they're video games. Picking an arbitrary side based on what console you got for Christmas that year just seemed counterintuitive, I guess. And in the last couple years, I feel like that mindset has slowly grown to be the case for a lot of people. I mean, take games like Fortnite. You can play with literally anyone, be it on the PS5, PC, Switch, mobile, whatever. Or Minecraft, the literal best-selling game of all time, getting its Better Together update, which I know Bedrock's got its issues. I'm a Java guy, but I was also a legacy console guy. Like, I have the legacy Nintendo Switch edition of Minecraft, and it actually runs on the Switch, which is nice. Anyway, the boundaries between consoles have slowly eroded over time, and so when I booted up Astro Bot, I was in love with how endearing it was to PlayStation's history, to the point where it genuinely feels like this is a love letter to all of gaming. And there is no single moment that exemplifies this more than the level Play Squadron Go. Astro Bot doesn't have much of a story, but this is one of the final levels of the game, so there's your spoiler warning. Astro Bot opens with this big alien guy attacking your PS5 spaceship and stealing the CPU out of it. The very minimal narrative involves going and putting your ship back together, so eventually you can chase him down and go get your CPU back. You find him, he runs off, and then the coolest moment in the game happens. All of the consoles you collected in Astro's Playroom become part of an all-out assault on the alien fleet. The music, coming from PS1 game Thunderforce 5, elevates this even further. On the surface, it's a pretty simple on-rail shooter, but the presentation is phenomenal. From Astro directly beckoning you to follow, to teaming up with every generation of PlayStation hardware, the VIP bots repping the console they debuted on, fighting to save your friends on a PS3, this level and this game is a celebration of everything leading up to it. I was genuinely blown away and a little teary-eyed, I'm not gonna lie, at all of it. Yeah, I get why it won Game of the Year. Astro Bot wears its inspirations on its sleeves, but it's not ashamed of them. It celebrates them. And in its own weird, wonderful, quirky way, it places itself among the pantheon of gaming giants that we first fell in love with all those years ago. I love Astro Bot, even as a Nintendo kid. Hell, maybe because I'm a Nintendo kid. I know that secret sauce when I see it, and it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what side you're on in a made-up internet console war. A good game is just that, a good game. It won't stop internet users from complaining, God. If Astro Bot can't, I don't know what will.